Maya lived in the bustling heart of Lagos, Nigeria, in a modest apartment in Lekki Phase 1. At 26, she worked as a freelance graphic designer, creating logos and brand identities for small businesses across the city. Her work was good, steady even, but Maya wanted more than just good. She wanted to be unforgettable. Every evening after completing her design projects, Maya would scroll through Instagram, watching influencers with their bold aesthetics. Colored hair, elaborate makeup, body modifications. They all seemed to possess an invisible magnetism that she desperately craved. She wasn't jealous exactly, just hungry for that same attention, that same confidence. One particular Thursday night, while lying in bed with her phone glowing in the darkness, Maya stumbled upon a video. A young woman was showing off her tongue piercing, laughing as the silver bead caught the light. The comments flooded in with admiration and envy. But one comment stopped Maya's scrolling. A girl with a tongue piercing commands attention without saying a word. Maya read it 3 times. Something stirred inside her, a whisper that said, "That's what you need." She couldn't sleep that night. Her mind raced with possibilities. How would it look? How would people react? Would it give her that edge she'd been searching for? By morning, she'd made her decision. Maya dressed quickly, pulling on jeans and a simple white top. She grabbed her purse and headed out into the Lagos heat. The taxi ride to Victoria Island felt longer than usual, her anticipation building with every turn. The shop was called Glam Studio, tucked between a pharmacy and a clothing boutique. The sign was modern, sleek, but when Maya pushed open the door, the interior felt different than expected. Dimmer. Heavier. A sweet, almost medicinal scent hung in the air. Behind the counter sat a woman unlike anyone Maya had seen before. She was tall and elegant, with skin so dark it seemed to absorb light. Her long braids were wrapped in a deep purple headwrap, and her wrists were adorned with intricate silver bangles that clinked softly when she moved. "Welcome," the woman said, her voice smooth as silk. "First time?" Maya nodded, suddenly nervous. "Yes. I want a tongue piercing." The woman's smile widened, revealing perfect white teeth. "Excellent choice. It will change everything for you." "Change what?" Maya asked with a nervous laugh. "Your presence. Your power. The way people see you." The woman stood and moved to a display case filled with various jewelry. But instead of selecting from the main shelf, she reached beneath the counter and pulled out a small velvet box Maya hadn't noticed before. Inside lay a single silver stud, gleaming with an unusual intensity. "This one," the woman said softly, "is special. It brings exactly what you're looking for." Maya stared at it. "How much extra?" "For you. No extra charge." The procedure was quick. A sharp sting, the metallic taste of blood, then the cool touch of silver against her tongue. Maya flinched but then smiled at her reflection. The piercing looked perfect, bold and confident. "You'll feel some warmth," the woman said, cleaning her tools without looking up. "It's normal. Part of the settling process." "Thank you so much," Maya replied, her voice sounding different even to her own ears. Softer somehow. More musical. As she turned to leave, the woman called out, "Remember, beauty attracts more than admiration. It attracts energy. Be mindful of what you draw near." Maya laughed. "I'll be fine." She stepped outside into the bright afternoon sun. Behind her, through the glass door, the woman watched with an unblinking gaze, her bangles catching the light in ways that seemed almost alive. That evening, Maya stood before her bathroom mirror for almost 20 minutes, admiring her new look. She smiled, stuck out her tongue playfully, and took several selfies. She felt lighter, freer, like she'd unlocked something she didn't know was trapped inside her. When she went to buy groceries later, different people complimented her appearance. A man at the checkout counter stopped mid-scan to say, "You must be a model or something." Maya blushed. "No, just a designer." "Well, you should be more than that," he replied, his eyes lingering on her face. Back home, Maya posted one of her selfies online. Within an hour, Her phone buzzed constantly with new followers, messages, and reactions. Her notifications wouldn't stop. She laughed softly to herself, whispering, "Maybe this piercing really is lucky." That night, exhausted but happy, Maya finally drifted off to sleep. The dream came immediately. She was underwater, but she wasn't drowning. She wasn't even afraid. Her body floated effortlessly through deep blue water, her hair spreading around her like dark clouds. The silence was absolute, peaceful even. In the distance, she saw a figure sitting on what appeared to be a throne made of coral and shells. The figure was a woman, regal and still, watching Maya with glowing eyes. "Welcome home, daughter of the depths," the woman's voice echoed through the water. Maya tried to speak, to ask what that meant, but only bubbles escaped her lips. The woman smiled and reached out her hand. "You belong with us now." Maya's heart began to race. She tried to swim away, but the water held her in place. The throne seemed to grow closer without the woman moving at all. Then everything went white. Maya woke with a gasp, sitting bolt upright in bed. Her sheets were damp with sweat. Her heart pounded so hard she could hear it in her ears. She touched her face, her hair. Everything was dry. Just a dream. But her tongue burned slightly, like heated metal. She drank water and lay back down, willing herself to calm down. It was just stress, she told herself. Just her imagination running wild after an exciting day. But as she closed her eyes again, she couldn't shake the image of that woman on the throne. Or the way her voice had said, "You belong with us now." Maya didn't know it yet, but that dream was only the beginning. Did this chapter intrigue you? What would you do if you had Maya's dream? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to African Tales by Emma Day for more stories that will keep you up at night. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next upload. Maya woke the next morning feeling strangely refreshed despite her disturbing dream. Sunlight streamed through her curtains, and for a moment, the underwater vision seemed ridiculous. Dreams were just dreams, after all. She got ready for her day, noticing immediately that something felt different. Her movements felt more graceful somehow. When she caught her reflection in the mirror, she looked brighter, more vibrant. Even her skin seemed to glow. "Must be good sleep," she muttered, though she knew that wasn't quite true. Her workspace was a small corner of her apartment where she'd set up 2 monitors and a graphics tablet. Normally, mornings were slow, waiting for clients to respond to emails or approve designs. But today, her phone rang before she even sat down. It was Mrs. Okafor, a client who'd been dragging out payment for 3 months. "Maya dear, I'm so sorry for the delay. I'm transferring your full payment now, plus a little extra for the trouble." Maya blinked in surprise. "Oh, thank you, Mrs. Okafor. That's very kind." "Not at all. Actually, I have 3 friends who need logo designs. Can I send them your way?" By noon, Maya had received 5 new client inquiries. By evening, she'd closed 3 deals at prices higher than she'd ever charged before. Every call went smoothly. Every negotiation felt effortless. Clients seemed almost eager to agree to her terms. "This is incredible," she whispered to herself, refreshing her bank account page for the 3rd time. When she went out that evening to celebrate with jollof rice from her favorite spot, the restaurant owner refused her payment. "It's on the house, beautiful sister," he said with a warm smile. "Your presence alone is good for business." Maya laughed nervously. "That's too kind, but I can pay." "I insist," he said, his eyes lingering on her face with unusual intensity. Walking home, Maya noticed more stares than usual. Men turned their heads as she passed. Women whispered and smiled. A few people even stopped walking just to watch her go by. She felt like she was gliding rather than walking, like the world itself was making space for her. That night, alone in her apartment, Maya couldn't stop smiling. Her followers had doubled overnight. Her work portfolio was getting attention from bigger companies. Everything was falling into place. But as she lay in bed, That feeling of floating returned. The dream came faster this time. She was back in the water, deeper than before. The throne was closer now, and the woman sat waiting, her expression patient but knowing. Around them, strange creatures moved through the depths, fish with luminescent scales, shadows that moved like smoke. "You're thriving," the woman said, her voice resonating through the water. "I told you it would change everything." Maya found her voice this time, though it came out distorted. "Who are you? What did you do to me?" The woman's smile didn't reach her glowing eyes. "I gave you what you asked for. Power. Attraction. Success. Everything you wanted. But I didn't ask for this," Maya tried to say, but the woman raised one elegant hand. "You pierced your tongue with my mark. You accepted my gift. Now you carry the blessing of the depths. Men will desire you. Opportunities will find you. You'll never lack again." "I don't understand," Maya said, panic rising in her chest. "You will," the woman replied. "Soon enough, you'll understand the price." "Price?" Maya's heart raced. "What price?" But the water began to swirl, pulling her down. The woman's laughter echoed from all directions as everything dissolved into darkness. Maya woke up screaming. She sat up, gasping for air, her hands clutching her throat. The clock read 3:33 a.m. Her room felt suffocating despite the air conditioning. That same strange scent from her dream, salt and seaweed, filled her nostrils. She stumbled to the bathroom and turned on the light. In the mirror, her reflection looked normal at first. But when she opened her mouth to check her piercing, her breath caught. The silver stud was glowing faintly, pulsing with a soft blue light. Maya leaned closer, her hands trembling. It wasn't a reflection from the bathroom light. The piercing itself was luminescent, like something alive. "No, no, no," she whispered, touching her tongue. It felt warm, almost hot. She grabbed her phone and searched for the shop's number. Nothing. She searched for Glam Studio Victoria Island. No results. She tried searching for piercing shops in that area, scrolling through pages of listings. The shop didn't exist online. Panic set in. Maya threw on clothes and called for a ride. At 4 a.m., she stood outside the address where the shop had been. The pharmacy was there. The clothing boutique was there. But between them was just a blank wall, as if the shop had never existed at all. "That's impossible," Maya said aloud, touching the wall. "I was just here." She was right here. A security guard from the pharmacy approached her. "Sister, are you lost?" "There was a shop here," Maya said desperately. "A piercing shop. Glam Studio." The guard frowned. "No shop has been here in years. Just this empty space. The landlord is still looking for tenants." Maya's legs felt weak. "But I was here yesterday. I got this piercing here." She pointed at her mouth. The guard looked at her with concern. "Maybe you're thinking of another location? Are you okay? Should I call someone?" Maya shook her head and backed away. "No. I'm fine. Sorry to bother you." She walked several blocks before finding another taxi. The ride home passed in a blur. Inside her apartment, she sat on her couch, staring at nothing. Her phone buzzed. A message from a new client. "Hi Maya, everyone is talking about your work. I need a full brand package. Money is not an issue." Another message. "Maya, your designs are amazing. Can we schedule a call?" Another. "I saw your portfolio. You're exactly what we've been looking for." The opportunities kept coming, but Maya felt sick. She touched her tongue again, feeling that warmth, that pulse. "What did I do?" she whispered. "What did she do to me?" She looked at her reflection in her phone's black screen. For just a moment, her eyes seemed to flash with that same blue glow. She dropped the phone, her heart racing. Outside her window, despite being on the 5th floor, she heard the sound of waves crashing against shore. But there was no ocean nearby. There was no water at all. This isn't real, Maya told herself. It's just stress. Just my imagination. But deep down, she knew the truth. Something had followed her home from that shop. Something that lived in her dreams, in that silver stud, in the strange new power that flowed through her. And it was only getting stronger. Weeks passed, and Maya tried to convince herself everything was normal. Her business was booming beyond her wildest dreams. She'd hired an assistant to manage the overflow of clients. Her bank account had more zeros than she'd ever imagined possible. Brand partnerships, speaking invitations, magazine features, everything came to her effortlessly. But the dreams never stopped. Every night, she descended into those blue depths. The woman on the throne spoke to her in riddles and promises. "You're one of us now," she'd say. "You'll never bow to anyone again." Maya started taking sleeping pills, but they only made the dreams more vivid. She tried staying awake, but exhaustion would claim her eventually, dragging her back underwater. Then she met David. He walked into the co-working space where Maya sometimes worked when her apartment felt too isolating. He was a software developer, quiet and thoughtful, with kind eyes and an easy smile. Unlike other men who approached her with aggressive confidence or desperate flattery, David was different. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Is anyone using this outlet?" Maya looked up from her laptop. "No, go ahead. Thanks." He plugged in his charger and settled at a nearby table. That was it. No lingering stares, no awkward attempts at conversation, no transparent attempts to get her number. An hour later, Maya found herself glancing at him. He was focused on his screen, occasionally sipping coffee, completely absorbed in his work. It was refreshing. "What are you working on?" Maya asked during a break. He looked up, surprised she'd initiated conversation. "An app for small business inventory management. Nothing glamorous, but it helps people." They talked for 20 minutes. He asked about her work with genuine interest, not as an excuse to flirt, but because he actually cared about design. When he left, he simply said, "Nice talking to you, Maya. See you around." She found herself smiling long after he'd gone. They kept running into each other at the co-working space. Casual conversations turned into coffee breaks, which turned into lunch meetings, which eventually turned into something more. David was steady, honest, and real in a way Maya desperately needed. "You're different from other guys," Maya told him one evening as they shared fried plantains at a street-side restaurant. "How so?" David asked. "You actually see me. Not just whatever everyone else sees." He looked confused. "What do you mean?" Maya couldn't explain the magnetic pull she seemed to have on people, the way strangers stopped in their tracks to stare at her, the way clients agreed to anything she suggested. It sounded insane even in her head. "Nothing," she said. "Just that you're genuine." David smiled. "You make it easy." But as their relationship deepened, Maya noticed something troubling. David started looking tired. Dark circles appeared under his eyes. He became forgetful, missing meetings he'd never missed before, losing track of conversations mid-sentence. "Are you okay?" Maya asked one evening when he seemed particularly drained. "I don't know," he admitted. "I feel exhausted all the time. My doctor says everything's fine, but I can't focus like I used to." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. That night, her dream was different. The woman on the throne was standing this time, taller and more imposing. Around her, the water churned with dark energy. "He's weak," the woman said simply. "What?" Maya asked, though she already knew. "Your lover. He's weak because you're strong. His energy feeds yours. That's how it works, daughter. That's the exchange." "No," Maya said, backing away in the water. "I don't want that. I love him." The woman laughed, cold and echoing. "Love. You think love matters? You carry my mark. His strength belongs to you now, whether you want it or not." "Make it stop," Maya pleaded. Please, make it stop. You can't break what you willingly accepted. You wanted power. I gave it to you. Now you're mine. Maya woke up crying, her pillow soaked with tears. She grabbed her phone, 3:17 a.m. again, like always. Her tongue burned with that familiar heat. She looked at David's last message. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. You make everything better. Her hands shook. She was draining him. Every moment they spent together, every touch, every kiss, she was taking something from him without meaning to. The realization crushed her. The next morning, David called in sick to work. Maya visited him at his apartment and found him looking worse than ever. Pale, weak, barely able to sit up. David, you need to go to the hospital, Maya said, fighting back tears. I went yesterday, he said weakly. They ran tests. Everything came back normal. They said it's probably stress. He tried to smile. Funny, since being with you is the least stressful thing in my life. Maya wanted to scream. She wanted to rip the piercing from her tongue right there, to tell him everything. But how could she explain? How could she make him understand that she was the cause of his suffering? That night, alone in her apartment, Maya stood before her mirror. She opened her mouth and grabbed the silver stud, intending to pull it out. But the moment her fingers touched it, searing pain shot through her entire body. She fell to her knees, gasping. The mirror rippled like water. The woman's face appeared in the reflection, smiling that cold smile. You can't remove it, the woman's voice echoed through the room. It's bonded to you now. Part of your flesh, part of your soul. I don't want this, Maya cried. Take it back. Take all of it back. Too late, daughter. You chose this path. Now walk it. The mirror exploded with light, then went dark. Maya collapsed, sobbing on her bathroom floor, the taste of salt water in her mouth despite being nowhere near the ocean. Her phone buzzed. A message from David. Feeling worse. Going to emergency room. We'll call you after. Maya screamed, a raw sound of anguish and rage. She'd wanted to be special, to stand out, to be unforgettable. Now she was all of those things, but at what cost? The man she loved was dying, drained by the same force that made her irresistible. She had to find a way to break free. But the woman's words echoed in her mind. You can't break what you willingly accepted. Maya pulled herself up and looked in the mirror again. Her reflection stared back, but her eyes glowed faintly blue in the dim light. She wasn't herself anymore. She was becoming something else. Something from the depths. Maya sat in the hospital waiting room, her leg bouncing anxiously. David had been admitted 3 hours ago, and no one would tell her anything concrete. Are you family? They kept asking. No, but I'm. Then we can't release information to you. Finally, David's sister arrived and was kind enough to update her. They're running more tests. His blood work is strange. Low iron, low vitamin levels. Like his body isn't absorbing nutrients properly. But there's no medical explanation. Can I see him? Maya asked. His sister studied her for a moment. You really care about him. More than anything. 5 minutes. He's very weak. David looked fragile in the hospital bed, connected to an IV drip. His skin had taken on an ashen tone, and his breathing was shallow. When Maya entered, he managed a weak smile. Hey, beautiful, he whispered. Maya's heart shattered. She sat beside his bed and took his hand gently. I'm so sorry, David. For what? You didn't do anything. That was the problem. She hadn't done anything, but something was being done through her, against her will, feeding on him to sustain her unnatural glow. David, I need to tell you something, Maya began, her voice breaking. This is going to sound crazy, but... Maya, he interrupted softly. I know something strange is happening. I've had dreams. Water, darkness, a woman who looks at me like I'm food. And every time, you're there too, glowing like you're made of light. Maya's eyes widened. You've seen her. Every night for the past 2 weeks. She tells me you belong to her. That I'm just temporary. He squeezed her hand weakly. But I don't care. I'd rather have these few months with you than a lifetime with anyone else. Tears streamed down Maya's face. You can't say that. You're dying, David. Because of me. Because of something I did, something stupid and vain. She told him everything. The piercing shop that didn't exist, the woman with the purple head wrap, the dreams, the unnatural success, the glowing stud that couldn't be removed. She spoke quickly, desperately, expecting him to think she was insane. Instead, David nodded slowly. I believe you. You do. My grandmother was from a coastal village. She used to tell stories about water spirits who made contracts with people. They'd grant beauty, wealth, success, but always at a price. Usually someone else's life force. He coughed weakly. I just never thought I'd be living in one of those stories. We have to break it, Maya said firmly. There has to be a way. David closed his eyes. My grandmother used to say the only way to break such a bond is to reject it completely. To give back everything it gave you and mean it with your whole heart. Then that's what I'll do. Maya, you could lose everything. Your business, your success, your beauty. I don't care about any of that, Maya interrupted. I just want you to live. I want to be free. A nurse came in, ushering Maya out. He needs rest. Maya kissed David's forehead gently. I'm going to fix this. I promise. That evening, Maya returned to her apartment with new determination. If she'd willingly accepted the mark, then she would willingly reject it. She gathered everything connected to her success since the piercing, business cards from new clients, jewelry she'd bought with her profits, expensive clothes, makeup, even her laptop that held all her recent work. She piled everything in her bathtub. Then she filled the tub with water and added salt. If this thing came from the ocean, maybe salt was the answer. She sat on the bathroom floor and spoke aloud, her voice shaking but firm. I reject your gift. I reject the mark. I reject everything you gave me. I want none of it. Take it all back. Nothing happened. Maya's resolve hardened. She'd read somewhere that spiritual bondage required spiritual weapons. She pulled out her phone and searched for churches, prayer ministries, anyone who dealt with spiritual warfare. She found one, Living Waters Ministry, Deliverance Service, tonight 8 p.m. Maya looked at the clock. 7:15 p.m. She could make it. She grabbed her keys and ran out, not even bothering to lock the door properly. The church was in Acadia, nearly an hour away in traffic. She took a taxi, praying silently the entire way. The church was small, packed with people. Maya slipped into the back row just as the service began. The pastor, a small woman with a powerful voice, spoke about spiritual contracts and breaking ungodly covenants. Some of you came here tonight because something is draining your life, the pastor said. Something you invited in, knowingly or unknowingly. Something that seemed beautiful at first but turned into bondage. Maya's hands trembled. It was as if the pastor was speaking directly to her. The good news, the pastor continued, is that no spiritual chain is stronger than the name of Jesus Christ. No covenant made in darkness can stand against the light. After the sermon, the pastor called people forward for prayer. Maya practically ran to the altar. When it was her turn, she poured out her story to the pastor, expecting skepticism. Instead, the pastor nodded gravely. Marine spirits. They operate through covenants marked in the flesh. When did you get the piercing? About 2 months ago. And the shop that did it doesn't exist? No. The pastor placed a hand on Maya's head. Let's break this covenant right now. What followed was the most intense hour of Maya's life. Prayer, anointing oil, declarations of freedom. Maya felt heat radiating from her tongue, then cold, then heat again. At one point, she fell to her knees, coughing. And then she felt it, a sudden release, like a heavy chain snapping. The weight she'd carried for weeks lifted all at once. She gasped, touching her tongue. The piercing was gone. Not removed, gone. Vanished completely. Her tongue was smooth, unmarked, as if it had never been pierced at all. "It's done," the pastor said simply. "The covenant is broken. Go in peace." Maya touched her tongue again, tears flowing freely. "Thank you. Oh God, thank you." She ran outside and called David's sister. "How is he?" "Maya. That's strange. The doctors just came out. They said his vitals are improving suddenly. They don't understand it, but he's responding to treatment now." Maya laughed through her tears. Thank God. Thank God. That night, Maya slept without dreams. No water, no throne, no glowing woman. Just peaceful, natural sleep. When she woke the next morning, she looked in the mirror. She looked like herself again. Not diminished, not less beautiful, just normal, real, human. Her phone showed dozens of cancelled contracts, clients backing out, followers unfollowing by the hundreds. Her success was evaporating as quickly as it had come. And Maya smiled. Because for the first time in months, she was truly free. 3 months later, Maya sat in a small cafe in Yoba, sipping coffee and working on a logo design for a local bakery. The payment was modest, nothing like the flood of money she'd received during those cursed weeks. But every kobo felt clean, earned through genuine skill rather than supernatural manipulation. Her phone buzzed. A text from David, done with physical therapy. "Coming to see you." Maya smiled. David had recovered fully, though it had taken weeks of rest and rehabilitation. The doctors had called it a miracle recovery, never able to explain what had caused his sudden decline or his equally sudden improvement. They knew, though. They both knew. The cafe door opened, and David walked in, looking healthy and strong. Maya's heart still skipped when she saw him, but it was different now. It was real affection, not the artificial magnetism that had pulled people toward her like moths to a flame. "Hey," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "How's work?" "Slow but honest," Maya replied. "I lost most of my clients, but I'm building back up. The old-fashioned way." "Good." David reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm proud of you." "For what?" "Losing everything. For choosing freedom over success. Not many people would make that choice." Maya squeezed his hand. Over the past months, their relationship had deepened in ways it never could have before. Without the supernatural influence, they'd gotten to know each other truly. Flaws, fears, dreams, and all. "I've been thinking," David said. "About what happened. About that woman and the piercing." "Yeah. How many other people do you think are walking around with marks they don't understand? Carrying covenants they made without knowing?" Maya had wondered the same thing. "Probably more than we'd like to think. Maybe we should tell people. Not in a preachy way, just share the story. Let them know these things are real and there's a way out." Maya considered this. Part of her wanted to forget everything, to move on and never look back. But another part knew David was right. If even one person could avoid her mistake or find freedom from their own bondage, wasn't it worth the vulnerability of sharing? "Okay," she said. "Let's do it." They started a blog together, anonymously at first. Maya wrote about her experience with the piercing, carefully changing names and details but keeping the core truth. David added stories from his grandmother's village, tales of people who'd made similar bargains and the consequences that followed. The response was overwhelming. Comments poured in from people sharing their own stories. A woman who'd gotten a tattoo from a mysterious artist and found herself plagued by nightmares. A man who'd bought a good luck charm and watched his relationships crumble. A teenager who'd pierced her navel at an unmarked shop and developed strange compulsions. "There are so many," Maya whispered, reading through the messages. "So many people trapped." They started directing people to churches that did deliverance ministry, sharing resources, offering hope. The blog grew, not through supernatural manipulation but through genuine need and word of mouth. One afternoon, 6 months after her deliverance, Maya received a message that made her blood run cold. "I'm the girl from the glam studio video. The one you saw on TikTok. My name is Blessing. I got a tongue piercing 3 weeks ago from a shop that doesn't exist anymore. Strange things are happening. Please help me." Maya's hands shook as she typed a response. She gave Blessing the address of Living Waters Ministry and Pastor Tun's direct number. "Go tonight if you can," Maya wrote. "Don't wait. The longer the mark stays, the stronger the bond becomes." Blessing went that evening. 2 days later, she sent a message. "It's gone. I'm free. Thank you for saving my life." Maya cried when she read it. David held her as she sobbed, tears of relief, gratitude, and purpose. "We're making a difference," he said softly. "I just wish I could find her," Maya replied. "The woman with the purple head wrap. I want to ask her why. Why does she do this? Why trap people?" "Maybe she's trapped too," David suggested. "Maybe she's just recruiting for someone higher up in whatever hierarchy exists in that realm." Maya shuddered. She preferred not to think about it too deeply. Some knowledge was better left alone. A year after her deliverance, Maya and David got married in a simple ceremony at Living Waters Ministry. Pastor Tund officiated, and in her sermon, she spoke about true beauty versus counterfeit glory. "The world will offer you shortcuts," Pastor Tund said. "Quick success, instant beauty, easy money. But every shortcut has a price tag, and the enemy always collects his debts with interest. Choose the narrow path. Choose slow growth. Choose freedom." Maya squeezed David's hand as they exchanged vows. Her business had stabilized at a modest but sustainable level. She had genuine friends now, not admirers. She had peace instead of applause. She had love instead of lust. And she had herself back. That evening, at their small reception, one of Maya's old friends approached her. "You know," the friend said, "you look different than you did a year ago." Maya's heart skipped. Different how? Happier. More real. Less like a picture and more like a person. The friend smiled. "I like it better." Later, as Maya and David drove home, Maya caught her reflection in the car window. She studied her face, unmarked tongue, natural skin tone, eyes clear and human. "No regrets?" David asked, noticing her self-examination. "None," Maya said honestly. "Well, maybe one. I regret not appreciating what I had before I went looking for more." "We all learn that lesson eventually," David replied. "You just learned it faster than most." They drove in comfortable silence for a while. Then Maya spoke again. "Do you ever dream about the water anymore?" "Sometimes," David admitted. "But it's different now. Just normal ocean dreams. Swimming, surfing, nothing sinister." "Same here." Maya paused. "Do you think she's still out there? Setting up shop somewhere else, offering piercings to other girls looking to stand out?" "Probably. These spirits have been operating for centuries. One person's freedom doesn't stop them completely. Then we keep sharing the story. We keep warning people." Agreed. 3 years later, their blog had reached thousands of people. They'd heard countless testimonies of freedom, deliverance, and restoration. They'd also heard heartbreaking stories of people who'd waited too long, who'd fallen too deep, who'd lost themselves completely to whatever forces they'd made agreements with. Maya now worked as a graphic designer for a Christian media company, creating content that carried truth rather than manipulation. David had developed an app that connected people with vetted deliverance ministries in their area. Together, they'd found purpose in their pain. One evening, Maya received a message that stopped her in her tracks. "My name is Grace. I worked at a piercing shop in Victoria Island 3 years ago. I was just the cashier, but I saw strange things. Girls coming in normal and leaving different. A woman who owned the place but was never on any official documents. I quit after 6 months because I couldn't handle the nightmares. I just found your blog. Thank you for confirming I wasn't crazy. And thank you for helping people escape what I watched them walk into. Maya showed David the message. Should I respond? Ask her if she knows where the woman is now. Maya typed, "Thank you for reaching out, Grace. Do you have any information about the woman who ran the shop? Any way to find her?" Grace's response came an hour later. She disappeared when too many people started asking questions. But here's what I learned. She wasn't the only one. There's a network of them. Different shops, different cities, different countries. They move around, change names, but the pattern is always the same. They offer beauty modification, piercings, tattoos, permanent makeup, and they mark people with spiritual trackers. I don't know their endgame, but it's bigger than just one woman in Lagos. Maya felt cold. The scope of it was overwhelming. How many people worldwide were walking around with marks they didn't understand? We can't save everyone, David said gently, reading her expression. But we can save the ones who find us. That's enough. He was right. They couldn't fight a global network of spiritual manipulation. But they could be a lighthouse for those drowning, a rope for those trapped, a testimony for those questioning their own experiences. That night, Maya updated their blog with a new post. It's never just fashion. A warning about spiritual marks. She wrote about the broader implications of what she'd experienced, careful not to demonize all body modification but encouraging discernment. She included warning signs, shops that don't exist online, artists who won't give their real names, procedures that seem too cheap or too perfect, unusual sensations after healing, vivid dreams of water or unfamiliar beings, sudden changes in personality or circumstances. The post went viral, shared across multiple platforms. Some people mocked it as superstition. Others thanked her profusely, saying it confirmed experiences they'd been too afraid to share. One comment stood out, "I work in a hospital ER. We get patients like this sometimes. Sudden decline, no medical explanation, always some kind of body modification from an unlicensed source. We treat the symptoms but never the cause. Thank you for naming what we see but can't explain." 5 years after her deliverance, Maya and David had their first child, a daughter they named Hope. Maya often held her baby girl and thanked God for the simple gift of a normal life. No supernatural beauty, no unearned success, no spiritual bondage. Just the blessed ordinary. One afternoon, while Hope napped, Maya found herself scrolling through old photos from those 2 cursed months. She barely recognized the woman in those pictures. The glow, the intensity, the otherworldly quality. It had all been artificial, powered by forces that didn't truly belong to her. "Why are you looking at those?" David asked, coming into the room. "Remembering what I almost lost." Maya deleted the photos, one by one, and being grateful for what I found instead. That evening, as they prepared dinner together, Maya's phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello." A young voice, shaking and desperate. "Are you the Maya from the blog? The one who had the tongue piercing?" "Yes, that's me. My name is Chioma. I need help. Please. I got a piercing 6 months ago from a woman who isn't normal. And I can't get it out. I've tried everything. It's glowing, and I'm losing myself, and I don't know what to do." Maya looked at David. He nodded, already grabbing his keys. "Chioma, where are you? We're coming to get you." Because that's what they did now. They rescued people from the same trap Maya had fallen into. They connected the desperate with deliverance. They transformed their testimony into a ministry of freedom. As they drove to meet Chioma, Maya looked out the window at the Lagos skyline, lights beginning to twinkle as evening fell. Somewhere out there, that woman with the purple head wrap was probably setting up shop again, offering her poisoned gift to another unsuspecting girl who just wanted to be special. But also out there were people who'd been set free, who'd rejected the counterfeit and chosen the real, who were learning to love themselves without supernatural enhancement. The battle wasn't over. It might never be over. But Maya and David had chosen their side, and they would keep fighting, one rescued soul at a time. "You ready?" David asked as they pulled up to the address Chioma had given. Maya took a deep breath. "Always." They got out of the car and walked toward the building, ready to help another captive find freedom, ready to shine light into another person's darkness. Because Maya had learned the hardest way possible that not everything that glitters is gold, that beauty without substance is bondage, and that true freedom is worth more than all the fake glory in the world. Her journey had been painful, terrifying, nearly fatal. But it had also been transformative. She'd lost everything superficial and gained everything substantial. And she wouldn't trade that for anything. The end. Thank you for joining us on Maya's incredible journey from bondage to freedom. This story is a reminder that not every trend is harmless, and sometimes what looks beautiful on the surface carries hidden dangers beneath. Have you ever experienced something similar? Do you know someone who might need to hear this message? Share this video with them. It could change their life. What did you think of Maya's story? Did it change your perspective on body modifications or spiritual awareness? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story impacted you, please like this video to help it reach more people. Subscribe to African Tales by Emma Day for more eye-opening stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our uploads. Share this video with friends and family who need to hear this message. Remember, real beauty comes from within, and true success is built on honest work and genuine relationships. Don't trade your soul for temporary glory. Follow us on our social media for more inspiring content, and check out our other stories that will challenge your perspective and open your eyes to the spiritual realities around us. Stay blessed, stay aware, and stay free. African Tales by Emma Day.